I've been. I, hmm. I just noticed you got an ass. Yeah. But yeah, I'm spooked. What should we like tonight? Yeah. But yeah, I'm a dead man either way. If I'm leaking like a fucking fountain, I have a problem. Mm-hmm. Right. And also stupidity from companies. I mean, companies are dumb as hell, if you ever notice. Like, I've seen a bunch of companies do stupid shit. One of the stupidest things that one company did, which was absolutely fucking hilarious, is this was at, like, some sort of hospital at the time. And there was only one IT worker there, and he kept the fucking computers up and running down there. Yeah. 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 Apparently, yeah. And he was, yeah, this guy, I don't know what I don't know what it was. I don't know where it was. I don't know what country it was, and he didn't really clarify where. But he did tell us this whole story and how his bosses were just horrible. And eventually, like, the bunch of, like, district managers started laying people off. And then they're like, hey, they walk in onto him and you're like, you're being laid off. And he's like, I really want to do that, you guys. Listen, I'm the only guy here working in the IT department. And he's like, just, you're being laid off, man. Doesn't matter. Get out. Yeah, they literally told him that. They're like, we're replacing you. The man had to do so much maintenance on the servers to keep them up and running that that the cables look like fucking spaghetti. Yeah. And the guy was like, you know what? Thank you. And he was smiling as he walked out. Yeah. And after they kicked them out, the entire building just went downhill. But yeah, you want to hear one of my favorite? Here's a nurse. But yeah, here's another good story about like some of our person that does repair work around this freaking stadium where he has to repair all of his equipment and everything. And he kept the equipment running on from the lifespan. And when he does, the man actually has literally a booklet of how to fix certain devices and keep them up and running. Basically, he kept the company from literally spending thousands of dollars on new equipment. Guess what the company decided to do? And the company's like, we're going to fire you because you don't do a whole lot of shit. That's literally what the company was like. The guy literally was pissed. And you know what he did? He pulled out his notebook, showed everybody like what the fuck he does on a daily basis. Repairing the machines, the devices, the things that take care of whatever it is that they need to take care of, and everything. Keeping them all up and running. And even recalibrating machines that shouldn't need to be recalibrated. Yeah. And they're like, well, think about. And they just looked at him like, give us a moment, please. Stand outside, we'll think about this. He knew what the fuck was going to happen, so you know what he did? You know what he did? As they were thinking, he walked away, threw the book into the garbage disposal, and then threw a bunch of other pieces, more trash, on top of it so it's properly buried. You'll see why he did that. And then as he was brought back into the room, the higher-ups, or whatever those people are in that damn company, were like, we have made a decision. We'll be laying you off. Please hand in your items, please. And he's like, sure. He hands them his items, and they're like, and the book. And what about the book? He's like, oh, don't worry, I threw that out. I destroyed it. Gone. The company's face went white because they were firing the guy, and what they were originally going to do is they were going to take that book and hire someone that's less expensive to do the repair work. Yeah, he laughed as he walked out of the building. And thanks to that problem, they had our people come on in, and they're like, yeah, you're going to need a new... They had to replace every fucking machine, which cost that company billions. Never kick out your golden goose. Yeah. By the way, if you want to know one thing about that book was not even company property. That was his own book. They tried to steal his own notebook that he made himself. But here's another Here's another thing that happened where this asshole of a company owner just did not want to pay for a fucking server. Alright? So he basically owns a server for his website, and he asked this man to make it for him. The man made it, set it up and everything. He was waiting for the payment. No payment came to that poor IT worker that set up all that work for that company. And he was pissed about it, so he literally contacts the police thing and manages to go in there and get his server back. Because, one, they didn't pay for the equipment or anything at all. Nothing. And he was demanding a price, and the price got higher every time. because he was warning them, and he's like, all right, I guess I'll take it back. And he walks on in to the building with police escorts because the police escorts are allowing this man to get his damn server back. But of course, the company owner's like, how are you going to get the server back? You don't have those tools for this big, giant rack of a machine. Because, the server's on a big computer rack, right? The big box thing. So you know what the guy does? He just looks at the guy like, true, opens the door to the server, grabs a few screwdrivers, unscrews the actual server, which is a small box, on the rack, and pulls it out. And then just walks off of it. Out of the building. And the fucking company owner's jaw just fucking dropped. And the company, and that's why instead of paying for it, the company was just yelling at the IT guy to give it back. And he's like, you know what? I could just sell your data to your competitors. I know. Oh, I know. I see. There's more, and this is all stuff I read on. These are a bunch of Reddit stories. You can find these stories in an IT tech support and all that stuff. Stories. It's hilarious, and they're beautiful. You want to tell you my favorite one of all? And it involves a fucking Karen too. It's beautiful. So this tech company has a place where you can rent out an area. So your team or company members go work on presentations and explain it board meetings or whatever shit. For that, they had. So yeah, that's what that company does, and it's a tech company too. So basically, this is also when there's a bunch of people sick at the time. So basically, this man was helping a younger woman that's new to the company still. And this woman's a minor, by the way, as well. And he was helping her out setting up the building and setting up the room for the presentation. So basically it has speakers for playing videos and all that stuff, everything. For the meetings that they allow people to borrow for a while. And basically as they were doing this, and one of the things they are allowed to the businesses is giving them Wi-Fi access. And all that stuff. Alright, so he got everything set up. He's in jeans and things, because it gets messy on setting up certain things once in a while. He kind of wanted to have some clothes that's good and rough, if all that. And basically the Karen and our fucking business crew of over 100 people walk in, and she's demanding Wi-Fi to every guest in the room. Now, she's yelling at the poor girl that is trying to help them out. And the girl is freaking out, and at that point, because that Karen is being a douche of a person and snobby. I don't care I don't know what company she works for, but it's supposed to be something big. And the guy sees this, and he's like, hey, can I help you? And he's yelling at her, get me your freaking manager. I want to speak to your manager about this, because this is horrible. We do not have Wi-Fi to every guest in this place. And he's like, alright, man, give me a minute. So he takes the coworker to the elevator, and they head up. As that happens, he's like, you go get something. He tells her to calm down and get a snack from the vending machine or whatever she wants. It's on him. And she's like, thanks. And then he goes into his office real quick. He goes into the office and changes into a fucking suit. Comes out. And she's looks at him, seeing him in this damn suit uniform, a very fancy suit, one of those black inside suits that you would see. And she's like, silly question, but who are you? She's like, well, I do work in IT, but I'm also but I am the CEO. He owns the company. And the reason why he was there, and he's like, and the reason why I'm here today is because most of the coworkers here are sick, so I decided to jump in here and help out. He cares a lot about his damn company, so he'd hopped in since a lot of his coworkers are ill. So basically, they go down, and he says to her, saying, "You don't mind telling our guest that the CEO has arrived?" And she smiled and said, "With pleasure." She goes and tells the Karen, and she's like, "Finally, everything's so slow around here." And then as she walks up, she immediately was about to yell at the man, but stops her tracks because she recognizes him as the coworker before. And when he walks up, he's like, "Well, as you can see, ma'am, you have definitely violated several of our guidelines. One, your rude behavior is one of them. Two, you've brought more than over 100 people into this building. And we did provide you Wi-Fi access, but the Wi-Fi, as it says in our contract, is for business items not for every single guest." And the best part is that Karen was dragged out by security, and that company is not paying you, and that company is banned to use their facility. Yeah. Mm. What? Dear God. I don't know. I got lost because you rambled a lot. Because there were no commas in that there were no commas that you did there. You just did. You just. Was there even a period? Yeah. You literally just threw that into one single sentence with no commas at all. I'm just like, I'm just trying to figure out what was what. All I got was Karen, older than you, and what I thought was sexy moment. I have it. I have a new. Yeah. No kidding. I mean, Karens are the worst, dude. You want to hear another Karen story I read? All right. That's. All right. Makes a little more sense there. Yeah. Oh, but yeah. Here's a story for you. All right. So, all right. So apparently there's this lady that's a Karen, and somehow she got the job of an executive at this company, and they get new phones every few years to work with. And of course, it was the fucking newer iPhone that she wanted to get from the IT guys. Of course, she recently got a new phone that worked for her. So the guy, the IT is like, we can't give you this. Well, you have an upgraded phone that's working just fine. He comes in the next day and she's like, oops, what? A phone is completely drenched in water. And he's like, okay, I can give you a replacement. Of course, he doesn't give her the upgraded one. He gives her the same exact model. And she's like angry and pissy about it, and she walks away. And when she comes back with it, he looks at it in horror. The screen was busted off, and you could see the inside of it. And he's like, what happened? She's like, I dropped it down. I accidentally dropped it around the stairwell. And he's like, which stairwell did you drop it at? She tells him, and he looks at the security footage. She doesn't drop it. He hits it down the stairs, kicks it, smacks it, picks it up, scrapes it on screen side first against the concrete wall, peels a chunk of it off, and everything. And of course, he sends that recording and explains what happens to the higher-ups, and guess who gets fired? As she walks out, she's like, executive has been framed. She literally said that. And I'm just like, dear God. Yeah, and of course, another one of my favorite things with another RIT guy was they get newer. Another one wanted a newer, better computer, and the guy was like, your computer's working fine, but you can't get it yet." And this guy was like, ugh. Walks out, and you know what he does? He damages his old computer to get the newer one, right? And he's like, "Mm-hmm." The guy knew the IT guy knew what he was doing. He's like, "Okay, give me a minute." And you know what he gives him? A fucking slow ass old dinosaur of a computer. He gives him that. He's like, "Here you go." And he's like, and if don't worry, if you break this, we got plenty of these models here. We got a whole warehouse, and they're easier to fix too. The guy was like, "Oh, okay," and then walks away with it. And oh my God, he comes back the next day begging for his old PC back because he could not take the slow ass time with this computer because it was sluggish as fuck to him. And it dies quicker and everything. He was begging for it. Yeah. And the guy was like, "It'll take a few more days." He made man use that computer for like 2 weeks. And it was beautiful. Like, one thing you should know, if you're working with a company that has an IT professional, just work with what the IT gives you. Don't fucking screw with the IT guys because they fight back hard. They don't. We IT people don't mess around, my man. I fix my mother's computer shit for her all the time in her office. Like, she'll have me do cable management sometimes and all that stuff just to get it good for her. So I do a lot of stuff. I even replace the batteries in our door systems, the batteries in the cameras. I do a lot of maintenance in the house that involves electronics and computer devices and Wi-Fi routers and shit. So I know what the fuck I'm doing. So yeah, I do that on a daily basis. Hell, when I was in my high school years, when I was in high school, my teacher would ask me to fix the Promethean board because it wouldn't hook up to the computer monitor. I'll just walk over, grab one cable, and plug it in, and done. And he's like, "How did you fix it?" I'm like, "It's the HDIM. You had it in the wrong port." He's like, "Thanks." But yeah. My God, it's so beautiful seeing these people just get what they deserve from like trying to tamper with electronics and all that. And also smashed him and everything. It's kind of sad. And I'm just like, how ironically funny. Because it's just beautiful to watch, just seeing them get what they deserve. Not much. I was busy trying to nail down a error that my AI gave me, which is one of the rarest errors I could get, which is an output error. And I don't know why it's doing that because it's an output. So it shouldn't have problems with that because the computer has a bunch of responses and everything. It even has responses as if it doesn't know what to answer. And for some reason, it gave me an output error saying, no output. And it just doesn't do anything. It just gives me nothing. I'm like, that's not good. But it's also when the AI is reading shit at the same time. So it's reading and figuring out what will be the response, and then it doesn't work properly. And I'm like, that's weird. Still don't know why it does that. It's a weird random shit thing. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've done that before. I will like read about AI crap a lot in the library books and all that stuff, and that's how I kind of learned. I have like a good amount of Python books in my office. And a few books about AI. So yeah, I'm also working on a robot platform out of making a robot. Yeah, I'm also making a new robot out of an old broken Roomba. Yeah. Brief is funny p.m. 3:18 p.m. In fact, I might actually hop off in a few minutes and take a break and then work on something else for a bit. And then hop on later tonight to beef my boyfriend and suffer. Ooh, I could, no, I could turn. What? I did not know I could do that. Flip a coin. Oh yeah, and I also just point out, like, do you remember the ads from the '90s? How good quality they are and beautiful, and how they actually showed the product. Yeah, like I said, good old day products, beautiful. I miss the good old, also the commercials too. So many good commercials back then. Yeah. All right, you take care, man. Yeah. All right, you have fun. All right, see you around.